23. A surge of excitement pulsed through the Barrow King. His wormen had cornered the elf and would bring the Godhead to him. Soon he would have the power to escape this wretched half-life. Soon he would become a god. He watched the battle through the eyes of the Worman priest. While still relatively low level, this elf had proven to be incredibly resourceful, even creative. The Barrow King liked a challenge. As a master of the soul sphere, the Barrow King could assimilate the skills and knowledge of those he possessed. That was the way he had gained so much knowledge and power in his physical life. And he would have it again. Nefarious joy exploded in the Barrow King's mind. The wormen have him. The man was injured, but alive, just as he had demanded. The revenant made plans. He would consume the elf's soul and take his body as his own. With the Godhead, he could gorge himself on all the life in the Barrow. Then he would evolve the Godhead. It would take time and patience, but the Barrow King had suffered for millennia, so he was also a master of patience. The worman had his prize tied and ready for delivery when the man escaped his bonds and used them as a weapon. He'd used his limited magic in a most inventive way. The Barrow King would have been impressed if he weren't so angry.
Time to take control of this situation,
the Barrow King realized. He extended his will through his dungeon and placed himself into the small mind of the Worman priest. The beast had just enough mana for this one spell. It would be a conduit for the Barrow King's casting. He knew it would burn out the priest's mind, but he cared less about that than a man who mistakenly steps on an ant while out for a walk. The Barrow King started casting Soul Portal, a spell of his own creation. It required a lengthy cast time, but when completed, it would create a doorway between his location and the battle. Then he could drag the man through the portal and take his prize. The man locked eyes with him and made a furious gesture with both hands that the Barrow King did not understand. When the elf spoke in the worman's horrid language, the meaning became clear.
No, young fool. Fuck you,
the Barrow King thought. The casting was at an end when the elf added one last insult to gesture and words and jumped into the raging river. The Barrow King howled, and his rage burned out what little remained of the Worman priest's paltry mind. The creature collapsed, dead before it hit the ground. The pent-up energy of the Barrow King's spell had nowhere to go. It exploded and tore through the remaining wormen, splattering the cave with blood and gore. The revenant's mind tried to feel the Godhead. It could not see the man. He had no minion in the torrential river, but he knew where it would take the elf. To the cavern with the lake where the arboleth dwelled. Fear gripped the Barrow King. There was no being in this dungeon who could challenge the Barrow King, except for the arboleth. The arboleth was an ancient ethereal aberration that the Barrow King had drawn to this realm in his youthful arrogance. It had taken all of his power to trap the beast in the watery prison where it now lived. The watery prison the man with the Godhead would soon enter. If the arboleth took possession of the Godhead, it would escape and the Barrow King was far too weak to survive a battle with the immortal entity. He needed to stop that from happening. He extended his mind into the underground lake. There, on a small island, he caused a chest to emerge, laden with the best weapons the Barrow King could provide. He glamored the chest with a spell of seduction that would lure the elf to the island. It was not much, but perhaps it would be enough for the high elf to survive and to escape. It would have to be.